Ahora dulce, let us continue this transmission. Are you all now full of nutrients? All right. Please continue with your dialogues if you wish.
Hello.
Good day.
Okay, good. My question is about music and the role that music plays in the evolution of the species.
Well, it's all about resonance. Obviously, music is about vibration and thus creating certain harmonics, certain tonal qualities that are in keeping with creating an environment that's conducive to expansion will be of great benefit to people.
Great. Secondly, are there entities in your civilization that channel music?
Yes, absolutely. Although our music is a little different than yours, you would hear it as something relatively simplistic, but we can hear more notes than you can. So something that to you may sound like a single note, to us may sound like a symphony. Therefore, to us, it is not that simplistic. But to you, it might seem so.
So in the evolution of music, in our understanding, is there projected or was it harmonically what would be the next evolution in music for our species?
Well, in some senses, you've gone through cycles where you've already touched into this, but it can and most likely will occur again in a new way, but it will be the repetition of a cycle of understanding that there are certain harmonics that are representative of certain proportions and ratios, what you call golden proportions. And by creating music that takes advantage of creating environments that are filled with those vibrations, harmonics that represent golden proportions, you can find it to have a profound effect on the mental states of human beings.
So how would one be able to contact an entity in your...
Well, golden proportions, you understand, especially in what you would call phi ratios, is the ratio of 1 to 1.618. So if you look for harmonics that represent and exhibit that particular ratio, then you will be on the right track.
Good. Thank you. That's it.
You are welcome.
Thanks.
Good day, Bashar.
And you good day.
My passion is working with flower essences.
Working with
Flower essences,
flower essences.
do you know what those are?
We understand.
I was wondering if you understand them enough to help me understand the mechanics of how they work. I consider them more, people say they're vibrational medicine. I think they're more consciousness medicine. And I have an idea about how they work with people. It's almost like they put the flower's consciousness gets into people's consciousness field and helps adjust the program like a computer.
Vibrationally, yes. But there is also a molecular component, of course. And the idea is that those molecular structures of the essences dovetail with other kinds of molecular structures chemically in your body to allow there to be a reinforcement of the vibration in physical terms for such things perhaps as relaxation or intuition or what you may wish to generate. So the idea is that there will always be a molecular side, as we said earlier, a chemical constituent to the belief systems that are then helped to be generated by the creation of vibrational environments. Yes?
Yes. When they're made,
Yes.
it's, from what I understand, there's nothing from like a constituent level that could be discerned when they're broken apart. So I'm a little confused when the
idea is that a vibration, a frequency may remain, of course depends upon the methodology utilized and the intention of the individuals involved in the creation of those substances in that way. But because there was a molecular structure to begin with, then in what remains, there will always be some representation of that molecular structure, even if it is a pattern generated in the new substance, such as water.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. And I had a second question, but you answered it in the opening dialogue. And I wanted to thank how you phrased it was very empowering how you talked about how things are a reflection of us, that we have the power, as opposed to, my question was one where it made me feel like the victim. And it was very refreshing to hear your dialogue. And I wanted to thank you for that.
You're welcome. It all starts and ends with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
So you spoke earlier with the lady about the fact that there is no future.
Not really. There are all sorts of presents, and whether it becomes your present is a probability, but it doesn't really exist in the future, because the future and the past are illusions, because space and time are illusional side effects of your consciousness shifting perspectives, relational perspectives, to the idea of a different version or a different perspective of now, because there is only now and everything exists now. So in that sense, there's no real future.
So by the same token then,
Yes,
that would imply that there's no one past.
correct. And as you change yourself and become a different person, you actually have a different past, whether you know it or not. You may think the past you remember is the past you always remembered, but that's not true. You just make it seem so because that's what you think the past has to seem like. Oh, this is the past I've always had.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're a new person, you may have a completely different past than you had 5 minutes ago, but you'll never know that. Although sometimes you might. That's the beginnings of what sometimes on your planet is called the Mandela effect, where people start remembering different histories because they are both real, or all of them are real, and you may retain some reason for remembering that you made a change, but most of you don't. Most of you have different pasts than you had a moment ago, but the past you have created in the present seems like the past you've always had, because it makes the most sense for the person you are now.
So for myself,
Yes.
when I think about the past,
Yes.
there's like this one continuous story, right?
Yes.
Born in this place,
Yes.
X number of brothers and sisters,
Yes.
grew up, school. It's
And
like
you
this one
may-
story.
You
How
may
do you get off it?
recreate some of the same elements in the new story, in the new past, but some of them may be very different. But you're still recreating it in the present.
So
Remember,
can you-
you're saying, I'm thinking of the past, but when are you doing that? You're doing that in the present.
So can you edit the past?
You do, that's what I'm saying. Every time you change yourself, you edit the past. You create a new past. You rearrange the elements as befits the person that you deem yourself to be now.
So I'm thinking, if somebody wanted to change their past, maybe
Do it all the time.
Okay.
You mean more consciously, more intentionally,
Yes.
in a specific way?
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe people that, saw or experienced horrific things or had a particular experience. Or
All right,
maybe
but let's go back to what we said. If you allow yourself to redefine who you are in the present, if that definition requires a particular past to make sense out of the person you are now, then the past will be automatically re-edited, so to speak, to match the vibration and the definition of the person you deem yourself to be now. So you don't have to work it that way. You can just work it by being the person you prefer to be, that then by that definition automatically must have the kind of past that was necessary to generate this kind of present.
So that would imply, I suppose the question then is everything simply, there's no objective reality, and then everything's a subjective reality?
Correct. Except for the 5 laws.
Okay.
That's the objective reality. Those are the facts. Everything else is a perspective, a belief, an opinion.
So this actually kind of sounds like it could be a useful tool, so to speak.
Of course.
So could you give us a practical example of how somebody might use it to very good effect?
Well, as I said, the effect is in determining who you are in the present.
Okay.
In other words, you're thinking cause and effect. I'm telling you effect and cause.
Okay.
The effect you create in the present creates the cause that determined the effect you're experiencing in the present.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I had a experience recently where I was looking at an old paper document and the wording had changed.
Yes.
It's like, that's not what I remember was written there before.
Yes. Because you had some overlap. You allowed yourself to create elements of both and recognize the difference between the two to let yourself realize that you are changing the past as you change the present.
And so, what about the things that seem very, I suppose, difficult to change, such as, the place you were born or the school that you went to?
Well, again, you're not really absolutely certain that it hasn't changed, is what we're saying. But sometimes, as I said, you may recreate the same things or similar things over and over again because it serves the consensus reality for you to do that, and it really doesn't necessarily serve a point for you to change that. It is changed, but what I'm saying is you may not necessarily make a change that makes any difference because it simply suits you to leave it the same way or appear to be the same way. So it's not that it's difficult to change, it may be simply irrelevant to change.
Gotcha. And so this editing that you can do, I presume you can do it in the future, for want of a better word?
Well, again, everything you determine in the present creates both the past and the future probability. But this changes every moment. You keep saying this as if it's something you can do. I'm telling you it's something you do all the time, every second. You change, you shift through billions of parallel reality versions every second. Every second. You are literally a different person in a different reality every second. Through the course of this conversation, we have both been billions of different people. It's just that we're overlaying these changes with this illusion called continuity that makes it seem as if we're experiencing a smooth transition from one moment to the next when in fact you're changing everything. Everything. Every moment.
So I've heard you say before that in order to have a radically different experience,
Yes.
you have to play with your willingness to allow the next frame to be different.
Yes.
Um,
More different than you're already allowing it to be. Recognizably different.
so does that imply that your willingness, is that tied to a belief?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And sometimes the belief serves you to allow it to simply be a smooth continuity. And as you expand your consciousness, it may serve you more to allow yourself to experience what you might call time jumps or spatial jumps.
You change the light bulb and you have a...
Yes, showing you that you have, in a sense, now this is just a euphemism, but in a sense you can experience it as if you have skipped over some frames.
Okay.
You haven't, but that can be the effect.
And the light bulb analogy then also applies to, quote unquote, what we call the past.
Everything.
Everything. Okay.
Because there is nothing but the present. When someone asks you, what time is it? You don't say, it's then, it's will be, it's now. There is only now. And everything you think of as the past and the future, you are thinking of now. Even when you have a photograph of something you believe was in the past, the photo exists in the present.
So similarly, then we're also accessing our memories in the now.
Memories are created in the present.
They're created in the present.
Yes. Everything in the present is created in the present, including what you call memories. It's just your way of interpreting connections in a space-time framework. From a space-time perspective, you just call them memories, but they're all present connections.
And those memories are in alignment with whatever light bulb is in at the time.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shivai.
And to you, Shibai.
Greetings and good day.
Good day.
I wish to take this moment to send all my unconditional love to all the people who are aiding and assisting our planet right now.
Absolutely, and us as well.
And I've been listening to you for about over 5 years.
Oh, all right.
And I just want to make a point to illuminate that after a certain point, I realized that it's less about knowledge and more so about action.
Absolutely, because you're experiencing a physical reality in which action is the expression of what you know to be true. And there's no separation between that. Remember, as we said, what you know is what you do. They're synonymous. If you're not doing it, you don't know it. You may have an intellectual comprehension of something, but if it's not in your behavior, you don't really know it. You don't know it in your bones. It's not absolutely true for you. Otherwise, it would be in your behavior.
So my first question is,
Yes.
there were times in your transmissions where you said, know thyself.
Know thyself.
And there was a transmission where people came up to the microphone and you said, who are you? And they responded,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand how those two can work within a being, within a person, how those two.
Know thyself simply means be very aware and very honest within your own investigation about what you believe to be true, what you're operating from, what assumptions and insistences you might be operating from, what you hold as a belief that is true. The idea of not knowing something, in a sense, is simply being open to allow what needs to come into you without getting in its way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes. I have another question. It's about crystals.
Yes.
I got very excited about working with crystals
all
after
right.
coming to a transmission here a few years ago, and
Yes.
attracted someone who is highly knowledgeable with the crystals and stones and minerals.
Yes.
And I brought up to him, he brought into my awareness the idea of protection crystals.
Yes.
And I told him, why would I need protection crystals if protection invites the idea of attack?
Correct.
And he responded with, well, you wouldn't go outside without your clothes on, right?
Well, you might, if it's a nice day.
Truth.
So, but remember, it's about respecting belief systems. If your belief system doesn't require the concept, then that's fine. Sometimes someone might suggest it, and then you get a chance to check in with yourself and go, are there any beliefs I'm not conscious of that might have attracted this person to talk to me about protection because I'm unaware that I might actually be afraid of being attacked and might need it? Or at least him mentioning it puts me in touch with the fact that I might have those beliefs. Let me make an assessment. Let me do an investigation. Let's see. All right, yes, I either A, do have that, and thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, or B, no, I don't really have that, and therefore that permission slip doesn't really work for me. It's not necessary. It's up to you.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes.
I have one more question.
Yes.
I really enjoy being outside in nature and
all right.
find it my calling. And right now I'm working in the farms outside.
Yes.
And, you know, I look in the skies, I see beautiful, clear blue skies. And then moments later on certain days, I see that the skies are being artificially covered
Yes.
by something, whatever.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
I wanted to find out how I can at least redefine it to something positive, something that can serve me.
Well, again, please remember, if nothing else, you can recognize that it might be a reflection of a reality that is something you can observe but has absolutely no effect on you in a negative way. That alone can be enough. Just because you can see the choices that others are making in other realities you don't find vibrationally compatible doesn't mean that they affect you, just because you can see them. It's just a neutral observation of what's going on with other people. So that perhaps at some point you can either be of assistance to them to help them change those methodologies and those ideas, or just be on your way recognizing that you've been given a chance to see whether or not you are going to choose to be affected by something you're not compatible with or not. It can be for a number of different reasons.